Melene Rousseau had spent the first 9 years of her life in a Wendy house, which is essentially a wooden shack in someone's backyard. Her father had walked out in the family when she was 3 years old, leaving her mom struggling to raise two little girls on her own. At times it was hard to dream of something better, but a determined little Melene had already planned on becoming a success. By the time she was 35 years old, she had already graduated with a law degree, worked as a lawyer, become an internationally recognized human rights activist, won several awards, and became an inspiration to people who grew up like her. The catalyst for who Melene would become is her mom, Desiree. She worked hard to put food on the table, and it did not matter how much they struggled. If someone needed help, Desiree would not hesitate to give them a warm plate of food and a roof over their head. She was especially passionate about helping abused women and children. After a few years of hard work, Desiree finally managed to rent a decent house, and another few years later, she could finally afford to buy her own home. Excelling both in sports and school, Melene eventually went on to study law at the University of the Western Cape, graduating in 2006. As a candidate attorney, she worked at a law firm where her role was to give advice for a fee, and here was the problem. She felt bad when someone could not afford to pay the fee for the advice, so instead of charging them, she would give the advice for free and secretly use her own money to pay for it. Despite being good at the job, Melene's giving nature was causing her to have financial problems, and she needed to find another way to earn a living. The following year, she became a legal researcher at the Constitutional Court of South Africa, working for struggle icon and Constitutional Court Judge Albie Sachs. This was followed by a year in the office of the Presidency as a National Cabinet Committee Secretary, and then as a special advisor to the Minister of Sports and Recreation, and then finally as the media liaison for the Minister of Tourism. It was also during this time that she completed a Masters in Laws, as well as diplomas in Media Studies, Governance and Democracy, and Leadership. Despite traveling all over the world and earning a huge salary, Melene was still a mother's daughter, and she needed to get back to who she is. At the age of 32, using her own money, Melene started the Women Lead movement, an organization that empowers women and girls through mentorships and human rights programs. It also runs projects to teach boys and young men about the rights of women so that they can become better adults. She is a Mandela Washington Fellow, a Junior Chamber International Top 10 Outstanding Young Persons of the World, a JCI South Africa Top Outstanding Young Persons in South Africa, nominated as one of the 100 most influential women in Africa, a 100 most influential young African, and a top 10 most influential young African. She's a contributor for the Future Africa Forum in Governance and Human Rights in Africa, selected as one of 11 spokeswomen in Africa for the Global Campaign on Gender Equality, and has been involved in 3 other global campaigns reaching hundreds of millions of people. Currently, Melene still runs the organization, as well as being a Global Advisory Council member, a UWC Foundation board trustee, and the head of personal support and advisory services to the Deputy President of South Africa. Now, when Melene was a little girl living in someone's backyard, she already knew that she would work hard to become a success. I don't think, however, she knew how impressive her CV would be by the time she was 35.